Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Strat Gamer here, providing you with a new Anno 1800 episode. And we are back with a new series to prepare for the High-Life DLC. If you've missed previous episodes, don't hesitate to check out the series that will appear now at the top and will be also in the description below. Also, I have published a couple of episodes recapping all of that we know at this point around the new DLC, so don't hesitate to check that out. But now let's get back into this actual save. And if you've been following the previous episodes, you may actually see new things. So for the first time in this series, I've actually done a few things offline. And the main reason for that was that I was going to do some boring things, meaning I needed to buy a lot of items, and I also wanted to develop a number of major discoveries and things like this in the research institute, and that would have been, to be honest, not a great video. But let me first recap everything that we've done and then explain what's next in the series. So the first thing that I did is to actually upgrade a bit more of the population here. This used to be workers, there are no artisans. This used to be artisans, there are no engineers. And I also added another engineer block here around one town hall with a few great items, in particular to increase the workforce, plus 50%, plus 20 here. These are not the best items. I just wanted to do it quick and dirty. Why did I do that? To arrive to 10,000 engineers or even more than 10,000, so that my research institute here could go at full steam. And it's definitely been going at full steam because, as you can see here, first of all, I have discovered enough scholar houses to complete this whole neighborhood here. I don't know how many it is, we can check, but 258. So that took a bit of time, but definitely quicker when you have 10,000 engineers, because then you can move this bar here. Now, for example, it goes from more than 1 hour to just less than 10 minutes. I actually even let the game run for all night, and was quite lucky that the power plant didn't explode, and therefore for the whole night, things were discovered. So if we now go into the mysteries of nature, I have 12 move clay deposit, 23 move oil springs, few change deposit, and a few change fertilities. So that's definitely going to be quite useful, but continuing to develop that. Now, to be able to do that, I needed to be able to produce what was needed for that whole population. In particular, not the happiness needs, that's not so much important, but these needs here to make sure the population was stable and stayed above the 10,000. To do that, I built a number of industries, quick and dirty. You can see here the work clothes for the first few tiers. Here is the soap, the sausage, a lot of bread. So all of this was needed, and a couple of other things, and then using the dockland to get a few other elements, to like the fur coats, the canned food, and things like this. That was definitely, just the first thing quickly to get this research institute to go full speed. While I was doing that, I also, as I said, bought a lot of items to fill these museums with the right items. If you don't know why I'm doing this, with one town hall, with these elements, 3 museums, with specific artifacts, which are the artifacts at the top here, don't hesitate to check out my video that will appear now at the top, which describe why you should get 33,000 attractiveness and how is the best way to do that. And part of how is this. So that took me quite a while to buy all of these items, but was very useful. Continue to develop a bit the palaces, including changing policies to what I want. In particular, this 250 attractiveness per completed cultural set was very important for the museums there. I'm not saying these are going to be the last one I use, but you can see that some are indeed useful. One thing I haven't switched to yet is the 200 attractiveness for turn holes. That's how I'm going to get to 33,000, definitely. But we are already at 10,000, so that's pretty good to to get the good bonus from the palace. Palace is growing, so it's starting to cover more and more of the island. That was the first thing around the cape, and then bought a few more items to start working on the new world. And if you remember, in the new world, I used to have these 4 islands that made quick and dirty for cotton and coconut here, coffee and citrus, cigars and cinnamon, and chocolate and wask. And this was just sort of what I needed mostly for my tourists and first investors and engineers. Now I'm gonna make here in the middle my first real island of Maxer. It's gonna be fish oil and also coffee. Why coffee? Because we need tons of coffee for the investors, so that's important to get started right away. And that way that I will also can stop making coffee here. I'll be able to use that population a bit more for some of the new things that are coming out of the DLC, like the chemical plant and things like this. Why fish oil, you may wonder, or to be honest, not because we're gonna need tons of it, obviously, but more because of 2 reasons. One is this is sort of low space, right? I mean, I have already a lot of storage, 3000. I have already a lot of peers. I don't need more. So all of this here was low space. So I said, okay, let's just put something. And if you look at the arbor of the new world, right now it's either fish oil or pearl firms. And pearls are even less useful than fish oil. On top of that, sort of a good reason is with the items that I've put into here, I'm producing tallow and gold, and here tallow too. And there's actually quite a few things that seems to be using tallow in the new DLC in terms of recipes and things like this. So that is a good one to start producing. And everything that we can produce almost for free instead of using space, be it in the new world or the old world, is great. The only space that's basically lost is that space here for the warehouses. And last element is I could also sell that fish oil if I have way too much. Okay, and so now, obviously that required a lot of items. We can go into Control T and see the one that I am using. We can start by the Arbor Master. I have 6 Arbor Masters office, each one with the Captain Moby for productivity, tallow and gold. This one is amazing, productivity plus 40 and workforce minus 50, and the Mother of Pearl for 40 and 1 out of 4 tallow. If you know better items, I'm keen to hear, but for me that's the best combo, especially when you add that for all of these, I've also added these 3 here. So starting with Ferras, that will give you 50 productivity and minus 10 workforce. The printing press for 25% productivity and minus 40 workforce. So if you followed, we had first minus 50, then minus 10, and then minus 40. So we are at 0 workforce. And then lastly, this one for 35% productivity. So these fish oil factories are definitely working hard. Because of course I'm also pushing them with plus 50, given that there's no workforce needed. So that's very good. And then I also have the mines there. The mines are going to be 2 things. One, obviously giving me gold is a good thing, but more importantly, they're going to give me oil for free on top of even more gold. I have only put 2 items so far. To be honest, I think I'm gonna change that, but I still need to confirm a bit. And that way the oil will help me, create fuel. For now it's only 4. I need to see when I sort of finalize the items that I put here, how much it's gonna be. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to import a bit of oil from another island, but every little bit helps, and it's really very small space taken. And then lastly, in this corner here, I have a zoo with the teeming lakes for productivity of coastal building plus 20. I have the botanical garden with Andean for my coffee, because it's going to give me plus 25% productivity for coffee. And then lastly, the origin of mankind, which actually will work on both the coffee and the fish oil factory for productivity plus 10. It's not huge, but given that it's gonna impact all of the buildings on the island, this is a good use of space. And then lastly, for now, I have put Gold of the Delta here, just to help with my influence, because I don't have yet tons of investors. But at the end, we're gonna try to do an investor run. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have tons of influence and way more that we won't need this one. So now I am basically ready to, so I need to finish which item to put here in those trade unions. And then I'm ready to start with the coffee. The idea for the coffee will have the fuel station, a few fuel station around the trade union in the middle, try to really be able to deliver as far as possible. Then we're gonna have, of course, the coffee plantations around trade unions, but we're also gonna try to integrate as much as possible the supply chain, which means that we're gonna try to put the coffee roasters in range of the coffee plantations. For example, you see here, if I put this coffee plantation here, that coffee plantation is able to deliver to that roaster here. So I don't need to put a warehouse here for it to deliver there, and then another warehouse to deliver there. I just need one warehouse, sort of, let's say, at the end of the chain for the coffee. So that can really that's a good use of space. That can really help a lot with the full optimization, because you have way less trade unions if you do it properly. The only thing that it will require, especially given all of the rivers, is a bit more of trade unions, because instead of having sort of one big cluster of farm, for example, and one big cluster of roasters somewhere else, we're gonna have smaller roasters close to each other. So that's definitely the plan for this next line here. Then I'm also planning to make probably this one here very quickly for 2 reasons. The first one will be to produce the oil, which will help on the island just next door to it. And also, given that this island is pretty small with the rivers and things like this, I know I won't be able to have a huge production like coffee or something like this. So I'm going to make corn. Why corn? Because in many of the new chains, we're gonna need corn. So I want to make sure we have a good production of corn before the DLC drops. So that's definitely the plan in the short term. And then in the bit of a medium term, the plan is gonna be to make sure that we have neighborhoods ready, probably in Crown Falls, that won't be forever, but more for just the drop of the DLC, to have a few neighborhoods ready to go through the actual storyline of the DLC, to be able to test, what's working in terms of panorama and things like this, so that then we are able to take those learnings and take the best way forward into investor on the islands like this one. Oh, actually, I also finished this one, so I forgot to tell you about this. Well, almost finished it. Where you can see, I don't know how many it is, it's like 12,000 engineers, investors. That's not huge, but that's a pretty small island. I mean, that's one of the smallest islands of the map, with only one oil power plant that right now isn't able to go fully to that end here, but that's because we're only at level 4, right? When we'll be at level 25, then that won't be a problem at all. I have put just one member club and it's able to cover everything. Why one member club? Is just to ensure that even if I don't give anything, the happiness is not bad. So that's important. Then I just put a few, well, one here, a few fire station, and then one hospital that's able to once again cover almost the whole map, except here. Of course, put a number of trade unions, town halls, sorry, but I haven't actually put any items into them. So our final population, where's the last one? Our final population will be actually even higher than what it is today. Did I deliver? No, I didn't deliver. So that's items I need to buy actually. You can see coverage is not perfect, but I actually tried to have 4 and didn't manage to be happy with 4. So here it is. So yes, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This was an episode a bit different than usual because we didn't do a time lapse. I just wanted to make sure you knew where we are at, to understand, why I also did some things a certain way. And as you can see now, the research queue starts to get blocked because most of the new research cost me more than 200,000. I think this one now is probably at 250 already. Yeah, it's at 250, which is the max. So I may even want to have a bit more of scholars, or alternatively, maybe to give them a few more needs. For example, maybe this tapestry will give 3 research points, or the RAM 2, so that my research points increase quicker, right? Because the problem is not the limit. My limit is 300,017. The problem is just getting to that number quickly. That's important. Okay, so as always, don't hesitate to share any thoughts, feedback, suggestion, be it on something that you've seen in this episode or maybe something that you want to see in the future episodes. We are running a bit out of time with the DLC coming out soon, but of course this series is not gonna stop when the DLC comes out. We'll continue to go for our record and also, of course, describe all of the new functionality of the DLC. Before you leave, one important question that I'd love for you to answer in the comments below is, do you want me to start making live streams? I have improved my internet connection and hopefully now I am able to really do those HD live stream, but want to understand if that's something that you guys are interested in, and also around what time would be potentially the best time for many of my regular watchers. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, and once again, thank you for watching.